Even the New York Times says Israel knew Hamas's attack plan more than a year ago. A blueprint reviewed by the Times laid out the attack in detail. Israeli officials dismissed it as aspirational and ignored specific warnings. What? Tell me that. Well, then why did they schedule that rave if they knew?
Yeah.
If they knew a year ahead of time? This is so. Just so people in Israel know, your government in Israel is also not your friend. The government is willing to sacrifice thousands of you so they can start their own little 9/11, and so they could go on a killing spree just like the United States did after 9/11. And if this sounds a little bit like 9/11, that's because it was planned by pretty much the same people.
Dismissed as aspirational. The famed Israeli security that we can't even take a chance on anything. When we had 9/11, they said, we got to be more like Israel.
Yeah.
They don't let nothing get through. If they think you're aspiring to commit terrorism, they're all over it. They dismissed it as aspirational. Have you ever heard of that since the war on terror began or before?
They're dismissing a blueprint for a terrorist organization to attack, just like George Bush dismissed his own security briefing that said Bin Laden set to attack inside the United States, and they dismissed it. It's weird. It's like a rock band that they ran out of. They're not creative
It's
anymore.
like Gallagher 2 is what it is.
And they're just writing the same old songs because they're out of creativity, but they still have bills to pay.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, right.
That's what this is like. It's the exact same. The blueprint is actually the blueprint from Israel and the United States to ignore the warnings that a terrorist attack is coming. And then they use that terrorist attack to go on a killing spree, which is what the United States went into Iraq. They went into Libya. They went into Yemen. They went into Somalia. They went into Afghanistan for 20 years.
All of BB's bucket list.
They went into Syria. So they used that to do all that wiping out. And now Israel's using that to attack inside Syria themselves, to try to start a war with Iran, and to carpet bomb and genocide Gaza so they can take over Gaza. Why? Because there's lots of gas and oil under there, and they want to put a canal across Gaza that competes with the Suez Canal. Plus, they've always wanted that land anyway. So here we go. Israeli officials obtained Hamas's battle plan for the October 7 terrorist attack more than a year before it happened. But Israeli military and intelligence dismissed it. The translated document, which was reviewed by the New York Times, did not set a date for the attack, but described a methodical assault designed to overwhelm the fortifications around the Gaza Strip, take over Israeli cities, and storm key military bases, including a division's headquarters. The document circulated widely among Israeli military and intelligence leaders, but experts determined that an attack of the scale and ambition was beyond Hamas's capabilities. Well, I guess they're not experts then, are they? They're fucking morons. Why do you call them experts? If they were experts, they would have got this right, but they got it 100% wrong, which makes them dumber than me. So they're not experts.
Yeah. Experts.
It is unclear whether Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu or other top political leaders saw the document as well. Last year, shortly after the document was obtained, officials in the Israeli military Gaza division, which is responsible for defending the border with Gaza, said that Hamas's intentions were unclear. They're unclear.
What? Is that why they paid them to be? Is that why they propped them up? Because they might be all right?
It is not yet possible to determine whether the plan has been fully accepted and how it will be manifested, read a military assessment reviewed by the Times. Why is all this sounding so familiar, Kurt? It's like it's a beat-for-beat remake of the same bullshit from 9/11. It's almost amazing.
Yeah, it's like when they redid Psycho with Vince Vaughn. Is every shot from Psycho? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it weird?
You guys think it's a little weird that the New York Times, Jerusalem Post, every single Arab Gulf state that's bought off by the U.S. is coming out and saying that Israel had these plans before the events took place? Don't you think that's a little weird?
Yeah, it is weird. Why are they doing that?
I think I have like a black pill conspiracy theory that, well, the chief of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, he said that Netanyahu is a good force for the multipolar world because he's so insane, so depraved, so disgusting that the world is actually turning on Israel. I think the globalists, the people pushing these stories, I mean, why would they be pushing these stories so soon after it's happened? I think that they hate Netanyahu too, and they want someone who's going to rule Israel with a, globalist friendly mindset, not do anything too insane, and allow 1,000-year, Reich to be established in Israel.
It's crazy that the New York Times is pushing this story. So why would they be pushing this story? And it's because maybe they also now feel that Netanyahu has to go.
Well, I mean, that Ukraine thing was a big loss. It's not really a convenient time for Netanyahu to pull his emergency terror attack lever to not be run out of office. We just gave all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're giving them out of our stockpile. We still got China to get to.
So, in July, just 3 months before the attacks, a veteran analyst with Unit 8200, Israel's Signals Intelligence Agency, warned that Hamas had conducted an intense day-long training exercise that appeared similar to what was outlined in the blueprint. I utterly refute that the scenario is imaginary, the analyst wrote in the email exchanges. The Hamas training exercise, she said, fully matched the content of Jericho Wall.
Wouldn't she be the expert then?
Sounds like she's the expert. It is a plan designed to start a war, she added. It's not just a raid on a village. Officials privately concede that, had the military taken these warnings seriously and redirected significant reinforcements to the south, where Hamas attacked, Israel could have blunted the attacks or possibly even prevented them. You know why it sounds like a beat-for-beat remake of 9/11? Because it is. Israel had the Hamas attack planned over a year ago, but it ignored it because they're such racist dimwits that they thought it was too complicated for Hamas to carry out. I assumed this was going to be a failure like 9/11, but it's actually far worse. Well, I hope this has at least taught you about the dangers of prejudice. Anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state has to support bolstering Hamas and transferring money to Hamas, Netanyahu told his Likud party's Knesset members in March of 2019. This is part of our strategy.
That should be the end. I don't want to hear about nothing after that. It's his goddamn fault and everyone with him.
This is exactly what Netanyahu wanted. They wanted them to attack. They wanted them to kill Israelis so they can then use that attack as a... That's why they gave them the money to do the attack. They let them train for over a year. They knew they were training. There's videos of them training. Everybody warned them. They knew a year ahead of time that this was happening. And they let it happen so they could use it as a pretext to take over Gaza, to wipe out the place. And by the way, they said everybody in the north of Gaza had to move to the south. They did, and now they're bombing the south of Gaza.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think they're racists, the Israelis. I don't think it's the racist thing that because racists would at least care about their own people. The Israeli government is so depraved that they use their own people for human shields.
Yeah.
And false flags.
And if you're a hostage, good luck to you because they may or may not want you back if it's good for the state.
Just like Hitler pretended to love his people before getting them hooked on speed and throwing them to the Russians to slow down his escape.
They've used the kids to slow down. I mean, he did kill himself, but...
Jackson, what do you have to say?
I don't think that they necessarily knew or wanted this to happen. I talked to Scott Ritter about it, and he agreed. He said, Netanyahu's dealing with the Supreme Court issue. Netanyahu was clearing the settlements in the West Bank. I think, if anything, those in Israel, they want to get someone more liberal in the government in Israel, and they want Netanyahu out.
Wait, he was clearing settlements? I thought he was there protecting settlers while they made more settlement. Am I wrong about that?
Sorry, I misspoke. Clearing the Palestinians for settlements. They killed over 300 Palestinians from January 1st up until October 7th this year alone in the West Bank.
Okay, so Mark Sloboda said that to us. I remember when Paz was on, and that's what I 100% thought. And now I'm like, well, I'm way more suspicious, and I feel like this dude, because the 7 hours to get there, it seems insane to me. 7 hours?
Well, that's not true either. People
Oh.
say it took 7 hours for them to get there, but you see the video of them. There's Israeli forces there responding almost immediately in the neighborhoods and in the kibbutzes.
Oh.
And the reason why they don't say that is because initially they were claiming that it was all civilians that got killed. Now we're learning Israel posted over half of the names that were killed that day were military personnel.
So they just said we didn't get there in time, but they were getting killed and also accidentally killing their own people and all that.
They wanted to hide the fact that so many of their military personnel got killed.
Oh, I thought maybe it really did take them 7 hours. They just didn't want to respond
No.
because they ate lunch and they didn't want to get a cramp.
You got to wait at least 7 hours.
You got to wait at
before
least 7 hours before you respond to a terrorist attack after
Yeah.
eating lunch. Everybody knows.
Oh, they
that.
were there.
I mean, but the 7 hours thing is crazy suspicious. Clearly,
That's
But-
it,
to the
it's
point of
just
being
a lie.
impossible. Yeah.
But they
That didn't happen.
Wow.
so they did have military responding and they got beat by Hamas. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's why Haaretz admitted it. Haaretz said in their own article that the Israeli positions called an airstrike on their own positions, and that's how so many of the people got killed by the Apache attack helicopter. It's all a bunch of BS.
Were they good at fighting at one time? Why do they have such a legendary?
Everybody says that the Israeli military is the best one of the best militaries in the world. Could that possibly be true?
They're good at bombing. They have that on their side, but when it comes to the, you're taking these massive tanks, IFVs, AFVs, into Gaza, which is it's like a heaven for snipers. It's a heaven for drone operators because of all the torn down buildings and demolished buildings. It's like they're popping out of holes, guerrilla warfare, Viet Cong style, and then throwing sticky grenades on the tanks and blowing. There's nothing you can do about that.
So I saw a video that you posted on your Twitter feed of Hamas doing exactly that. So here comes a tank, and
The Tom Hanks from Saving Private Ryan move?
yes, it's that maneuver.
Wow.
So this tank, which is worth I don't know how many $50 million. I don't know what
3.3 million each one.
each tank is worth $3.3 million, and that's without the tinted windows. and the video, you see this Hamas guy just with one of those Tom Hanks sticky grenades, goes and sticks it right on the bomb, right on the tank, runs away, and then the tank just disintegrates.
But does Spielberg regret putting that in the movie? I bet.
I bet he does.
With the great ideas for defeating tanks.
And so it doesn't seem like Hamas has any trouble defeating their tanks, right? Is that what it looks like to you, Jackson?
No, they've wiped out probably well over, I'd imagine, 100, 200 tanks now. I have countless videos that I haven't even shared yet, just waiting in the drafts. It's so many of these videos, and you think they have this many videos. Okay, how many did they not capture on video that they blew up?
Right. They
It's
can't
crazy.
They can't be filming every one of them, and I bet some of them they forgot to press record. Like that happens to me all the time.
Just for the record, even if I didn't believe any video I saw, like, well, that's Hamas video, I can't trust it. If you just go by the things actual Israelis have said openly on every news program, it's unreal. That Dresden thing alone is beyond the pale. I genuinely thought that they were going to compare Hamas to the Dresden war crime.
Yep, they're saying no, we're going to commit a Dresden. They're saying it openly.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's I keep understanding how I watch Michael Rappaport. He ain't dumb. He's doing that on purpose. I watch him go, the hostages are probably dead already. Watch him do a whole in his snot nose filled thing say, I'll bet I hate to say it, hostage is probably already dead. Just got to go in.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's being paid by somebody. Probably that Noah, what's her name, that went on Tim Dillon's show.
You think Michael Rappaport's being paid to
I think
spew
he's a
that
Brooklyn Dad Defiant because of that.
Uh-huh.
Because I was watching.
I'll bet you any money he is. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to throw in, hey, the hostage is probably dead. We just got to go bomb them. That doesn't mean you don't know anything. That means you know things, and you're saying that. You're towing the line, and to tow the line like that, I think you got to be getting paid. You can't be that.
Okay. By the way, Jackson is going to be on. Are you going to be on our show on December 30th? It's the day before New Year's Eve.
I think so.
Yes.
So Jackson's going to be on that show here. By the way, those tickets are almost sold out. We're not making it available. We're only making tickets available to our premium members. So if you're a premium member, that's one of the perks. You get to get tickets to this event, and outside people who aren't not outside. That's a weird way to say it, but people who aren't premium members are not getting the ticket link. Only people who are premium members are getting a ticket link to the show. That's on the day before New Year's Eve. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
Saturday at Two Roads Theater. We're only selling 50 tickets. And we already sold 43, right? We already sold 43. So there's only 7 tickets left. They're $50 a piece, and that's because we have to pay a lot more tech people to do this because we're filming it for YouTube.
It's one of the panel shows.
So it's a panel show. We're starting up our panel shows again. Jackson's going to be on that
I
panel.
love those panel shows.
Kurt's going to be on it, and we're also going to have Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck. No, I'm making that part. No, I'm making that part.
Go get the falafel thing because here comes Bill O'Reilly.
No, but we have Jackson's going to be there. Kurt's going to be there. And we haven't extended an invitation to anybody else yet. I think we're going to invite one more person on the show. And we'll see what happens. Steph will be on there because we need to have...
What's my last name?
Steph Zamarera will be on that show.
Thank you.
We're doing live comedy shows in Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Boston. Plus, we're going to put a date in Edmonton, Canada, plus Vancouver. See ya. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.